Choosing the right flour for sourdough. The foundation of great sourdough starts with quality flour. A mix of bread flour and whole wheat provides strength and flavor. Bread flour's high protein content develops strong gluten, essential for structure, while whole wheat adds depth. Experimenting with rye or spelt flour can enhance complexity, but too much can make the dough dense. Creating and maintaining a healthy starter. A sourdough starter is a live culture of wild yeast and bacteria that gives the bread its characteristic tang and rise. Feeding it daily with equal parts flour and water ensures it stays active. A bubbly, slightly sour-smelling starter signals readiness. If stored in the fridge, feeding it a day before baking helps reactivate fermentation. Mixing and hydrating the dough. Hydration plays a key role in sourdough's texture. A dough with 70 to 80% hydration, water to flour ratio, balances structure and extensibility. Mixing flour, water, starter, and salt without over-kneading allows gluten to develop naturally. Letting the dough rest, autolyse, before adding salt improves hydration and strengthens the final loaf. Mastering stretch and fold technique. Instead of kneading, sourdough relies on gentle stretch and folds to build structure. Every 30 minutes during the first few hours of fermentation, lifting and folding the dough strengthens gluten. This method creates an open, airy crumb without overworking the dough. Proper folding also helps distribute gases, leading to an even rise. Controlling fermentation for flavor development. Slow fermentation is key to developing sourdough's signature tang. Bulk fermentation at room temperature for 4 to 6 hours, followed by a cold overnight rise in the fridge, enhances flavor and texture. Cooler temperatures slow yeast activity, allowing lactic acid bacteria to develop deeper, more complex flavors. Shaping the dough for optimal rise. After fermentation, gentle shaping ensures a well-formed loaf. Using a bench scraper, folding the dough into a tight ball strengthens the gluten network. A final proofing in a well-floured banneton, proofing basket, supports the dough's shape. Overproofing can cause the dough to collapse, while underproofing results in dense bread. Baking with steam for a crackling crust. Sourdough gets its signature crust from steam during baking. A preheated Dutch oven traps moisture, creating an environment for a crisp crust. Baking at 475 degrees Fahrenheit, 245 degrees Celsius, for the first 20 minutes with the lid on, then uncovered for the remaining time, promotes caramelization and deep browning. Spritzing water or adding a pan of boiling water in the oven can also create steam. Listening for the sourdough, singing. Once baked, a well-made sourdough loaf will sing, as it cools, tiny crackling sounds from the crust contracting. This signals a properly baked crust. Letting the bread rest for at least an hour before slicing prevents excess moisture loss, ensuring a chewy yet airy crumb inside. Storing sourdough for long-lasting freshness. Sourdough stays fresh longer than commercial bread due to its natural fermentation. Storing it in a paper bag or wrapped in a clean towel helps maintain the crust. For longer storage, slicing and freezing individual pieces preserves texture. Avoid plastic bags, which trap moisture and soften the crust. Experimenting with flavors and techniques. Once comfortable with the basics, experimenting with add-ins like seeds, nuts, or dried fruit adds variety. Adjusting hydration levels or fermentation times allows for customization. Whether making a classic country loaf or a flavored variation, mastering sourdough is a rewarding and endlessly creative process.